Welcome to Miracles of Course, Maureen Muldoon, and I wanted to share with you a little Christmas miracle that I had. Some of you know that I've been in the hospital and I had a little operation, and I had my throat sliced open, and something was removed. It was the size of a lacrosse ball, it turns out, which is a little bit smaller than a tennis ball. And I know that's like kind of disturbing information, but it's the backdrop of my Christmas miracle. So, you know, it turns out that everything can be used to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. So as you know, I teach A Course in Miracles, and I'm going to get back to the lessons. I've been recording the lessons on YouTube, and I love recording the lessons, and I'm going to get back to it. I just, you know, had a few things come up. But I wanted to share with you the story. So I teach A Course in Miracles, and I also, throughout the year, I teach other things as well. And one of the other things I teach is in the spring and the fall, I teach this class that I call Chakra Bloom, where I, help people heal, work with their chakras. And basically, you know, it's all about getting in touch with your stories and forgiveness. That's all healing. Forgiveness, all healing comes from forgiveness. So this fall, I was in this class teaching. Now, before the class, I had gone to see this doctor for this throat situation that I had. I had this goiter and this lump in my neck. And the doctor that I went to see was mean, and I was like, I'm not going to that doctor. And she was like, we're going to just take it out, and and I was like, we're not doing anything like that. And I don't like you, so go away. So I'm being completely honest with you, that's how I was. And I said to my husband, she was so mean, and my husband was like, no, she really wasn't mean. And I was like, no, she was really mean. She was a mean person. I need to set that up for you so you understand where I'm coming from. So I go to teach this class, and in the class, one of the classes, I hold the space so people can get in touch with their anger. And so many times we're just, especially women, are taught to just not get in touch with our anger. We're taught to be nice and pretty and kind. And anger is none of those things. Anger is harsh and painful and powerful and destructive. And so we don't go there because we have a negative judgment on things that are harsh and powerful and destructive. But nature is harsh sometimes and powerful and destructive. So in this class, I hold the space for people to access and express their anger. And so I model it for them. So I get up in the class and I say, okay, so this is how it is. You just stand up and you say, I hate this and I hate that and I hate this. And so, I said, I hate when my coffee is cold. I hate being stopped at red lights. And I hate, poor children and orphans. And I hate the medical industry. And when I said that, all of a sudden I got like a lump in my throat and my eyes started to water. And I was like, wow, okay, I struck something. All hatred is a defense mechanism to cover our vulnerabilities and our fears and our sadness. Underneath all hatred and vindication is a child that's just afraid. So after the class, I went home and I sat in stillness, and I said to the Holy Spirit, my internal teacher, I said, I'm carrying around this ancient hatred towards the medical industry. And I really want to have this cleared. And immediately I was sort of shown these memories, And my first memory of the hospital was being in the hospital and as a kid, and having to go into this hospital room with my siblings one at a time and say goodbye to my mother because she was dying. And so this being my first memory of a hospital, of course, all I'm going to think about hospitals is that it's a horrible, it's a horror home, a home of terror, and hideous things happen there. So because this is the story that I'm holding, right? And so I go throughout my life holding this story and holding up this story and strengthening this story. You know, I decide that, hospitals smell bad, and that they're just filthy death traps. And I make sure that I read every article about botched, diagnoses and people who die there and swapped babies at birth and all these other things. If you're looking for ways to terrorize yourself, it's not hard to find. And I decide I'm going to have all my babies at home. I'm not going to trust them to the dirty hands of the medical industry, where only death happens. So I have all my kids at home. It's exhausting. It's exhausting having such vindications, But this is my belief that I carried around for so long. I had a racket about the medical industry. And it's funny how we pick up these rackets, We forget to take, we take them seriously. We forget to laugh. We pick up crucifixions and we carry around these old rugged crosses that do not serve God, that never served us. And we use them as defense mechanisms to cover up those soft spots, those places where we're most vulnerable, those places that are our sadnesses. We get afraid of our own sadness. We run from our own sadness, and instead of just feeling our sadness, we create an arsenal around it. We create a protective device, and that's what I was doing with the medical industry. So, after I recognized this, the Holy Spirit, my internal teacher, said to me, Maureen, the medical industry didn't kill your mother, which is what I had thought and believed. But in fact, the medical industry had prolonged her life and actually had given her comfort during her time of pain. I had never seen it like that before. I had never seen that interpretation of the story. That's amazing to me. And as soon as I recognized that truth, something fell away from me, something was lifted. And I suddenly felt gratitude for the medical industry. And I decided to make an appointment with another doctor. And the second doctor that I met, of course, was brilliant and wonderful and kind and compassionate. And I was still scared, but I went into the hospital, and she slit my throat and removed this lacrosse ball that was leaning on my vocal cords and all of that nonsense. And every nurse that was there was like a little cherub, a little angel that was so kind to me. And I feel like I'm moving into the Christmas season with one less crucifixion on my back, with one less heavy cross on my back. And I've made space for a little gratitude. And so what I wanted to suggest to you was that perhaps, you could get in touch with some of your places, your shadows, your places of anger or crucifixion, and just write them out, or just, get in touch with them and decide whether or not this is something you still need to carry, something you still need to value. Ask the Holy Spirit to have it reinterpreted and ask to have it lifted, so that you can move into the holiday season with a little more space and a little more grace and a little more happiness on your face.
It's not that unusual when